A boy falls asleep in the shadow of a monster. He is a prince out hunting in the desert, and he has stopped to rest in the only shade for miles, beneath the head of an enormous stone lion with a human face. He does not know who built it. Nobody does, even then, because the thing he is sleeping beneath is already so old that the sand has swallowed everything but its head, and the people who carved it have been dust for over 1,000 years. We have a habit of imagining ancient Egypt as a single picture. Pharaohs, pyramids, gold. One civilization, frozen at one moment in time. That is not what it was. Egypt was not a moment. It was an ocean of time so vast that the Egyptians themselves got lost in it. Consider one fact. The Great Pyramid was built around 2,500 years before Cleopatra was born. And Cleopatra lived closer to the invention of the smartphone than to the building of that pyramid. Let that settle. When Cleopatra looked at the pyramids, she was looking at monuments more ancient to her than she is to us. By the time of the pharaohs we picture, the golden masks, the famous names, the pyramids were already weathered relics from a half-forgotten age. Their smooth white casing was cracking. Their tunnels were full of sand. The names of the god-kings who built them had begun to blur. The Egyptians did not build the pyramids and live among them in one seamless story. They inherited them. They stood in their shadow and wondered, the same way we do. Around 1250 BC, a prince named Kamweset, a son of Ramesses the Great, walked through the crumbling monuments of his own ancestors and felt something we would recognize instantly. Grief, fascination, the need to know. So he did something no one is recorded as having done before him. He restored the ruins. He searched out the names of the forgotten builders and carved them back into the stone, so future generations would remember who they belonged to. 3,000 years ago, a man was already an archaeologist of a civilization he considered ancient. And that boy in the desert, asleep beneath the lion's head, he was a prince named Thutmose. When he woke, he ordered the sand cleared away, and the body of the Sphinx emerged into daylight for the first time in 1,000 years. He was not discovering his history, he was excavating it, pulling it back out of the earth that had quietly begun to erase it. This is the part that unsettles. We think of the past as a single distant shore. But the Egyptians had their own ancient past, and that past had a past. Layer beneath layer, each generation standing on ruins it no longer understood. Time does not pile up neatly behind us. It opens downward, like a well with no bottom. And we are standing at the top of that well right now. The pyramids that were ancient to Cleopatra are still standing. They have watched every empire we have ever named rise and fall, and they are not finished. They will still be here long after the last person who remembers your name is gone. One day, someone will look back at us the way we look at Egypt, flattened into a single picture, a handful of names, a few surviving stones. The sand is already moving. We are not living after history. We are simply the layer that hasn't been buried yet.